Hello everyone. I wanted to make a video about how I got into the top 1000 leaderboard for North America with less than 1000 hours in the game. In the future, I would like to make a video deep diving individual clips and really showing why I was there, why I threw that nade, why I was peeking when I did, maybe why I thought someone was in this corner. But just for this video, it's just going to be a highlight of my first 1000 hours, and maybe it can help you. This is just kind of my own thing that I did. There's a lot of other tutorials that are much better, and there's a lot of people who are way better than me. So don't think everything I say is perfect or even really that good. It's just what helped me get onto the top 1000 leaderboard, and I figured I would show what I did. Now, a lot of this is mixed gameplay. It's not in order. Some of it is when I was around 600 hours, some of it's closer to 1000 hours. It's all broken up. I'm just going to let it play, and I'll maybe cut the video at some point, just kind of walk through a couple generic things. But like I said, maybe in the future I'll make a more in-depth guide on what I could have done better for each situation and just really break it down. But like I said, for now, I'm going to keep this one general. I left in some clips with mistakes just to show that it's not all perfect at all. I still mess up really bad sometimes, and you will see. I'm just going to let some clips play without me interrupting, and then I'll stop back in and kind of go over some basic tips and very helpful steps that allowed me to get to this point so quickly. One last thing before the video starts. I'm very bad at editing, and I'm very lazy when it comes to YouTube videos, so this is probably going to be posted sometime after I reach the top 1000 leaderboard, so I'm sure I've already been knocked off, or maybe I climbed higher. My goal was to get to the top 1000 and then go to Face It, so at the point of this video release, I might not even be on Premiere anymore. Might have already moved to Face It, but sorry for the poor video quality, and I really appreciate you watching this video, and thank you again.
You're a god.
Could be going.
Could flank you, Jay.
Burn our swan.
Elevator ramp. Nice. Bomb A, side hall.
Last where? On site.
Counter-terrorist win. Nice.
Alright, let's get back into it. Just to remember that this is just my experience. There's a lot of people who are way, way better than I am. But I just wanted to share kind of what I think would be better and good tips for you to try. So, one big thing that I see new players doing a lot is baiting. And everybody's done it. I still do it sometimes. It's a hard habit to break, but it's one that you're going to absolutely have to fight. You cannot play from 0 to 10,000 rank in Premiere by just baiting everybody. One of the biggest basic tips I can say is play deathmatch and practice with the AK. There's so many people I see who are new to the game who just always tell me, I'm done using the AK, I'm much better with the A1S, and yeah, maybe that's true at the time, but you have to learn how to use the AK. It is one of the most fundamental guns in the entirety of Counter-Strike. You can one-tap people from almost about any distance, and it's very strong wall banging, and once you learn how to control recoil, it is a very, if not the best gun in the game. The op is pretty good with people who are really good at the game, but the AK is something that everyone has to learn. You cannot get through the game without learning the AK. And Deathmatch, in my opinion, is the absolute best for that. There is a lot of external maps you could play that are very good for training, as well as like aimbots. I play that sometimes, but I've been playing a lot more Deathmatch instead, just because people are actually running around and you're getting real encounters around different corners, different maps if you don't just play Dust 2, and you can get a feel for the gun very fast. Now, in my opinion, there's two major things that go with CSGO, is your placement and your aiming. Your aiming will come in time. I still choke horribly. There's some matches that I'm so embarrassed to be playing in, but then I have other times where my aim is really coming together and you can see that I've been practicing, and that will just come in time. Now, your placement. Yes, you will get better the more you play, but I would say for the first 0 to 10,000 rank in Premier, focus on your placement more than anything. And when I was going through, I was terrible at aiming, and again, I still aim like trash sometimes, but what got me ahead of most players in the early ranks was my placement. Even though I couldn't out-aim a lot of the really good people that were just starting out and ranked, I had so much better placement than so many people at those lower ranks, and just by standing in the right place and really focusing on where you're at, why are you standing there? Is where you're standing really going to help the team? Is it going to help the site? Is your back covered? Even if your teammate's not on the mic, you should be trying to pay attention to that on the map. Are you standing anywhere that's really going to help the round? And if it's not, then think of where you could be in relation to where your enemies are and how much that would help you on the map. Instead of just kind of wandering around and looking for kills, really think, is where you're standing helping the team? And 9 times out of 10, when you really focus on where your placement is, you can just absolutely destroy the lower ranks, because a lot of them like to bait off their teammates, a lot of them hide, and just by sitting in very simple off angles, you can absolutely fly through the lower ranks. If you are serious enough about the game, truly the best place to learn is watching Pro League. For the longest time, before I had a PC and could even play CSGO, I've been watching Pro League for majority of my life, and it really, really helps so much if you really pay attention to what they're doing. Why did they peek that? Why are they standing in this corner? Why is their teammate doing what they're doing? And really focus on what's going on, where they think the enemy is, where do you think the enemy is? And their placement, and if you really watch it, not just kind of watch it and not analyze it, if you really take a look at what they're doing, you can pick up so much from what they are doing. And even without basic instruction, just watching them run through the motions, watching them run through a default play, and play off each other, play off flashes, hold a certain angle that maybe you haven't seen before. I have learned so much just from watching, and it's crazy how many people like overlook that. So many people watch Pro League 2, and I feel like there's so many people who just don't pick up what they're watching, and that's probably the biggest thing you can do is learn from watching the pros. Their placement and their timing is almost perfect every single time, and again, I can't tell you how much I have learned from just watching and actually paying attention and starting to incorporate my own plays into it. And you will learn so much just from watching Pro League. Now, if you can't do that yourself, and you just don't, or you just don't want to watch Pro League, or you just don't want to watch YouTube, just learn from your mistakes. Every time I die, yeah, sometimes I get pissed, but I really try and think, what led up to me dying right there? What did I do wrong that led me to die? I don't just die, don't think about it, move on. You need to learn from what you were doing that led up to that point. So many people just do the same stuff over and over again, and it makes me so frustrated when I was in the lower levels, because now that I'm in a little bit better of a stage, I can see how bad I was at doing it, and now it's very blatant to people who are way better than me. Just the amount of mistakes that people make over and over again, and it's so frustrating. Just learn from your mistake. Learn, why did you die? Why did you stay there? Why didn't you turn around? Was there nothing you could have done? Was there something you could have done to save the round? If you would have stood there, what would the round have looked like? There's so many different ways to analyze what led up to you losing the round, dying, missing your shots, having terrible placement. Just really learn from what it is. So many people just blindly keep playing, and if you want to get better, you have to learn. So please, just when you die, think, what could you have done better? How could you have supported your teammates better? Could you have thrown a flash before your teammates? Even if they're not on the mic, it's still a team game, and you should always be thinking of the team instead of yourself. And whatever you could have done better to prevent you dying, your teammate dying, losing the round, whatever it is, you just need to focus on that instead of just keep blindly playing and hoping that you'll get better. This game is a very, very intense game when it comes to strategy at the higher levels. There's so many people who are leagues above me who are crazy smart, and they know when to peek, they know when not to peek. They're not playing in bad spots because they have learned from countless times over and over what they need to do. Why did they move to a different spot from last time? Why did they learn from maybe throwing a smoke in this spot to another spot? There's so many different things that you could pay attention to that would improve your game. You just need to actually pay attention to what you're doing. Another big thing that comes along with getting better at the game is learning smoke lineups and molly lineups, instant flashes, really just utility in general. You need to learn how it works. Everybody in the lower levels, and even still at 20,000 plus, there's people dying with full racks of util every round. Every round. They don't use it. They don't even think about it. So why are they even buying it? And it's one of those things you're just going to have to get through your head is use your utility. And if you don't know how to, I can make a video about it in depth in the future. Or there's probably a billion other really good ones that you could go watch. But you cannot be afraid to use utility. There's so many different things that utility opens up in the game for you to do. And just limiting yourself from using those is just setting you back already. It's going to take you longer to get to the higher ranks. You're just avoiding something that you're going to have to learn at some point. So there is no reason that you shouldn't be starting to get comfortable with early on. Now, another big thing is the movement. You need to learn how to move at some point, whether that's by playing serve, parkour maps, another tutorial. Maybe I can make a tutorial, but moving and strafing, sidestepping, crouch peeking is so important. And there's so many people who just love crouching around and walking around, especially when the bomb is planted. If you are in, let's say it's a 1v3, you're defending and the bomb gets planted, and you're still halfway across the map, and here you go, you start shift walking all the way over there. You don't have a kit, so you're just wasting all this time in a low chance win ratio already, and you're just wasting even more time by walking over there. There are some times where you are going to have to recognize that you walking is just going to hurt you. It's a sucky situation already, so you don't want to make it worse by wasting the rest of the time by just walking over there. Even though you're going to be making a lot of noise, it's still worth your time more to do that and try and take those fights, because that gives you more time to fight it. You just need to think about the game as percentages. What is your percentage of winning this if you're just going to walk on site, so that's mostly covered, let's say by 3 people, they're probably going to cover the whole site. So you're going to walk into one of them at least, and then if you get that kill, who's to say the other 2 are not just going to trade you instantly? Maybe they'll back off a site because they know where you're at now. It's just so much more worth your time, in my opinion, to push up. Now, there's some situations that are different. If you really know that you have it and you know where they're at and you need to walk, that is perfectly fine. But there's so many people who waste the post plant because they are too scared to make noise. And in reality, those low ranks are not going to be ready for you to come out and peek. Some of them will get you and you will lose sometimes. However, you will never get better if you're just walking around and not taking those engagements when you should. And you're just wasting bomb time And so even if you do get all the kills and you don't have a kit, you're going to be screwed 9 times out of 10. And finally, just 2 major tips that I think you should focus on when you're going 0 to 10,000 is your placement first and then your aim. The movement and all the other stuff, such as like smoke lineups, molly lineups, any of the smaller stuff you should be learning on the side. But in my opinion, the biggest thing you should be learning is your placement. If you can catch people off guard, your aim doesn't have to be perfect. Now, when you get to the higher ranks, you are going to be expected to have both. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, deathmatch is amazing, and if there's enough people that want it, I can make a real tutorial and explain what I'm thinking, why I peek, what I press, just kind of what's going on. And this video was more of a kind of just showing that I made it to this level within 1,000 hours. And like I said, editing and the quality of the video is probably terrible. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I will try to make another video as soon as possible, and have a good day.